Good morning, folks. Today is December 19th, 2025. This is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. My name is John Decker, the Director of Community Services. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm going to go through and do some quick staff introductions, and then we'll get into our agenda. So, we have from Community Services, Alejandra on, and Allison, and Sharon, and Christy Schaefer, and Shauna, and Jessica, and Boyd, and Virginia, and Michael Mercado, and Christine Hobbs, and Jaslyn. Our manager, Helen, is on as well this morning. We additionally have from client services, our client services manager, Carol Wilhelm, is on this morning, as is client services manager, Jason Scantleberry. Additionally, from community services, we have specialists, Beverly is on. We have Megan Qualicon. Good morning. We have our specialized services and supports unit manager on, Jordan. We have Rhonda Phillips, our housing specialist, and we also have Wason from Community Services and Mason, as well as our QA and compliance manager, Scott Barr. Michelle Duchesne, oh, and Monet as well. Michelle Duchesne is not able to join us this morning. She is doing a community meeting for South Lake Tahoe right now. And I know we have some staff that are over at Santa Day, and I'm hoping for those of you that have not made it to Santa Day, that maybe you guys will try to get over there after this meeting today. I know I'm going to try to get over there. Santa Day is over at the Scottish Rite across the street from Sac State. For our agenda for today, we have Michael Mercado with our sign of the week in Deaf Culture 101. We have a quick accounting update that we received from Robin, our accounting manager. We are going to go into a community resource development plan request for proposal. And so I've got some information to share on my screen, and we have some staff that are going to be talking about that. We have an update to our website related to vendorization, update about DDS's QIP work group, information about DDS's workforce initiatives, a reminder that we have no coffee with community services the next 2 weeks. And we're going to take a little bit of a look at Alta's upcoming event calendar, as well as the Department of Developmental Services. If there are other things that folks are interested in discussing today, please don't hesitate to utilize the chat. I don't know if we are going to be able to have a live stream to someone over at Santa Day right now. I think we reached out to some folks to see if anyone is able to log in from over there. So we'll see if we get someone. We might be um, putting our attention towards Santa Day a little bit. But as we get started here, just like we do every week, we're going to start with Michael Mercado for our Deaf Culture 101 and our sign of the week.
Sure, let me get myself situated here. All right, good morning. So first, we talked about how next week and the week after, there's no community services meeting, coffee with community services. So I'm going to make some videos for YouTube. So you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel that I'm using to so that you can still get that information next week and in 2 weeks. So we're going to start with our signs of the week. We have 3. First is Christmas stocking. Second is milk. And the last one is cookies. You ready? We learned the sign for Christmas. So Christmas, we know that one. Christmas. And stockings. So we're just going to use our index. This is the sign for sock. But a stocking is a sock, right? So Christmas stocking. And then, so we do Christmas, we do sock, and then we do our X hand shape like this, the bent index to show that it's hanging somewhere, whether it be on the fireplace or anywhere else. So we're going to do that again. Christmas, sock or stocking, and then show that it is hung up for the holiday. So that one has some parts, but that's okay. The next one is milk. This one's easy. Milk. And we do that 2 times. Milk. Cookies. Use your dominant hand, and you're going to bend your fingers like this in a claw shape. Your non-dominant hand is a flat cookie sheet, right? You're punching out those cookies with your cookie cutter. So the dominant hand is the cookie cutter. Your non-dominant hand is the cookie sheet. Okay, let's do those together. Christmas, stocking, hang, hang, hang. Milk and cookies. Excellent. Very good. Now for our Deaf Culture 101 topic for today. The topic for today is visual and physical vibration. So the deaf community heavily relies on visuals and physical sensations. And this can mean body language, facial expressions, being able to read the room and take in information from the room. So anytime that there are people in a room and we're all hanging out, we can feel energy, we can sense your body language, we can read into your behavior. And so there are 2 bits here specifically. The first is about rhythm. So we can sense a repetitive rhythm. And so I'm thinking of, for example, if I'm sitting somewhere and I can feel some banging on the floor and it's in a certain rhythm, then I can assume that someone's maybe walking behind me and what I'm feeling is their footsteps. Or if I'm in a bar or somewhere where there's music playing and I'm near the speakers, maybe I can feel the bass, the beat of the bass or of the percussion in the music. And if there's one big bang, maybe I can assume that that's a door closing, that someone closed the door pretty heavily. So these kinds of sensations replace the information that you are receiving auditorily. So those are things that you know because you hear it, and these are things that I know because I feel it. And so, and then with energy in the room, visually and physically, I can feel someone's mood, right? Someone's hug is going to be different if they are happy or if they're sad. And so this is also a part of deaf culture and communication. So we heavily rely on visuals and physicals. So now I want to talk a little bit more about technology. So technology is ever changing, right? People are coming up with stuff every day. And there's one piece of technology that allows deaf people to enjoy things in a different way. This one's called Woojer. Woojer. And it is a vest that you put on and you strap it to yourself. And there are some little gadgets on the vest that vibrate for the person who's wearing it. And I'm going to show you here. I'm going to share my screen what I'm talking about. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay. Make sure the sound is on for you for this video.
Can you let me know we didn't get the sound?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Reshare.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm going to share the sound. The interpreter just shared that part with me. So let me try that one more time. Hmm. Sorry about that. I think we're just going to watch the video, and I can send you all the link. This is a 2-minute video, but I'm just going to show you a little snippet of it so you can see the vest in action. Sorry, I'm not, sorry for the hearing people in the room. I'm not able to figure out the sound. Okay. So that's the video. I think it's pretty cool. It looks like there's different models of this device. There's one with just one haptic device on the chest, and there's one that has a full vest that has several different devices on it. So it sounds like it's a great addition to folks who like gaming or watching movies and listening to music. So uh, Woojr is this technology that can be in sync with the music from a video game or a movie, whether the movie has dinosaurs or a loud car chase scene or something like that, very, very exciting. It can add to that. And then, of course, with a video game, if we're playing Mario Kart, for example, right? You can maybe feel the accelerator and the brake, and so like I think it can add a lot of excitement for a deaf person as they are utilizing these different technologies. So it can allow for a bit more inclusion, right? So sound is a big part of hearing people's lives. When you're watching a movie, lots of suspense, and same with video games, it allows deaf people to participate in that. So Woojr did do some testing with deaf community members to make sure that it was going to be additive to someone's experience. And now it seems that they're also creating other opportunities for its use, whether you are deaf or hearing. So it seems like an awesome piece of technology for anybody. So that's definitely on my wish list personally. I hope maybe one day I'll get my hands in it, but it's like $350. So depending on the model that you choose, so not a cheap piece of technology. But the deaf community is quite thrilled by this. It can allow for more access, allow someone to feel more immersed in the movie or the video game that they're playing. So to translate sound into haptic feelings is a great idea. In the past, I've talked about different technologies, about the LED lighting that you can put around your television to add to a full room immersive experience. So I think that this haptic device can be even more immersive for a deaf person. So I look forward to more technology in the future that allows for these kinds of additive features. Yeah, I think the point is mainly just audio isn't everything, right, for everybody. And so I think that we can find other ways for experiences to be more inclusive. So I'll send you all the video for the next few weeks for Signs of the Week, and you can subscribe, please. And then I'll also send the link to that Woojr video that you guys didn't get to watch with sound.
Looks like you got some positive comments in the chat there as well, Michael. Excellent. All right. Well, as I say, thank you very much for sharing, Michael. If you can please make sure that you drop that link, yeah, into the chat for everyone so that we can check out the video as well. And I hope that your Christmas wishes come true and that you find a vest under your tree on Christmas morning. All right. Thank you very much for that. That was excellent. I knew nothing about this technology whatsoever, so that's why I really appreciate these meetings because I feel like I'm learning something new every single week that we do it, and it's always very meaningful. So thank you again, Michael, and thank you, Michael, also for putting some videos together for while we are going to be off for the next couple weeks as well. So again, just want to encourage you, keep it up, practice with Michael's videos over the next couple weeks as well, because he has put together some more content for us. So thank you very much, Michael. I was thinking about my kids. For their controllers for their video games that shake as well when they have things happen, kind of a similar type of technology there as well. All right. We got some accounting updates while we always meet with our accounting manager, Robin, before we have this meeting. And there was a couple things, like a few things that I wanted to bring up. One of them is if there's issues that you discover with your billing, please make sure that you should reach out to your fiscal assistant as it relates to this. If there's some type of misbilling, for example, that you did, just want to again encourage you, please reach out to your fiscal assistant and let them know. You can certainly reach out to your assigned community services specialist, but the fiscal assistant is the appropriate person within our accounting department for that. Additionally, we have been looking at what are the remaining authorizations for services that we still have to update as a regional center. So we still have, so some of you run day programs, for example, and let's say you had like a service code 510 uh, day program or something like that. You've moved over to service code 531. You are a day program. We've been giving you your updated rates, your transition rates for quite some time, but we may not have actually moved over all the purchases to the new service codes. And so that's what we're in the process of doing right now. We did take a look at the remaining ones. And we have a few thousand left. Many of them are going to be done internally within our accounting department. But when you look at the tens of thousands of authorizations that we have at any one time for our 35,000, individuals that we serve, we are doing a really good job in getting the last of these authorizations transitioned over. Again, this has been a huge undertaking by our community services department throughout the state. I will say community services departments have really struggled. It's a challenge for all the regional centers to implement the rate study, and Iqbal, our chief operating officer, and I were discussing it last night, how everything you have to be so extremely detail oriented. And the fact that, we don't control any of the information. All of the information comes down to us from the Department of Developmental Services, and we have to kind of report back up to them. It has been, again, it's just a huge undertaking when you have, thousands of rates, thousands of service providers, tens of thousands of clients that are, impacted by it. And so I just want to, as we come towards the end of the year here, I do want to acknowledge you as service providers that have gone through the process of having to work collaboratively with the community services department to have this happen. And so thank you all. I mean, I will say our experience with our service providers has been overall extremely positive as it's related to rate reform. I think we've, kind of all done our best to navigate it together. And again, I don't know, I just can't say enough about our staff. It has been a significant issue, workload issue this year for our community services staff. And you guys have done a really fantastic job getting a lot of this stuff taken care of. Let's see, we have something in the chat real quick about the accounting stuff before I move on to my next accounting item. FYI on billing issues, when we reach out to Alta Accounting, they often need an authorization number to find the invoice or troubleshoot. We are not consistently receiving POSs when issued, and so they need to reach out for the service coordinator for authorization numbers to continue any furthering with accounting department. I will say certainly that has been a ongoing challenge, is making sure that we have all of the updated authorizations entered into the system. Again, we are putting some checks in place to ensure that we don't have kind of the continued ongoing challenge of retroactive POSs being put in place. And we certainly, from community services, tell you all as service providers to make sure you have those authorizations in place. But as is mentioned in the chat there, it is necessary for you to try to get the authorization number from the service coordinator. If that's what the issue is, there is no authorization that has been generated. Every service coordinator has their manager's email in their emails that they send. So also you can call our main line as well to reach out and try to get a hold of a client services manager. I say this, I don't know, I say it relatively frequently, and I'll just say it again here. There's not a huge stigma attached to like CCing a manager in these types of things. Having been a client services manager myself for 7 years and knowing like the challenges of like especially onboarding sometimes new staff, it's okay to reach out to the manager as well and let them know that you're having a challenge with this. We do always want to try to contact the service coordinator, but again, there's no stigma to that. We need to ensure that the work gets done, that you guys have your authorizations. So don't hesitate to do that. I wanted to mention one other thing, and this is related to SIR reporting. Over this last week, there's been a very concerning kind of incident that's occurred with one of our residential facilities. And with it, there is a lot of consideration for things that may go on. You may have a direct staff that acts really inappropriately towards a client. There might be abuse or neglect that goes on, possibly from a direct staff in a situation. And these things can happen and do happen when you're working in the human services, social services realm. The really challenging thing is when we don't have any special incident reporting that like aligns with that. If again, bad things can happen, inappropriate things can happen, but we have to be able to trust that you as service providers, when you know that these things are going on, that you guys will send in an incident report, let the protective agencies know, especially if it's related to abuse or neglect. And so I just want to, not to be too much of a downer, but I just want to make sure like service providers, you can reach out to us. We understand when these things go on. We have a whole quality assurance unit. The challenge is if you don't let us know about it. If you become aware of it and you don't fulfill your requirements to let us know, don't fulfill your requirements. For example, if you're a licensed facility of letting licensing be aware of something that has gone on, then we lose a lot of the trust that is needed in order to ensure that we don't have other incidences that are going on either similarly or in some cases maybe more severe. So just as a reminder for folks, like we understand you run agencies, you run homes and facilities and things like that, but it's very important that when these quality issues come up, or especially something that would be related to like abuse or neglect of clients, that you get us in the loop and allow us to do our thing. And it is like devastating just for me, like, because I understand things happen sometimes that are very inappropriate with staff and clients. It's devastating to me when I find out that like we have not had like any reporting of those things that go on, and we may find out about it possibly months later, when an individual could possibly continue to be exposed to like the risk of abuse or neglect. And so just as a reminder for that, it was again a very tough situation this week where this was discovered for a facility. And again, just I encourage you, please report with us. Special incident reporting isn't like this. It shouldn't have like a nasty negative stigma. It is allowing us to have an opportunity, allowing the state, allowing protective agencies to have an opportunity to weigh in on what the next steps are going to be. That's why it gets elevated, the way that it does. It's not reporting yourself as being in trouble or anything like that. And this is going to be even more important because we'll get into it in the next few months, but we're going to be shifting to much more expanded SIR reporting in the coming year as well. And that's something that we're going to be, sharing with all of you as vendors about the new requirements for SIR reporting that are going to be put in place by the state too. So just wanted to touch on that briefly with folks. And again, it is a very important. Scott's team, Jordan's team work very closely on these risk management issues. Speaking of Jordan's team, I'm going to share my screen for this next section.
Excellent. Thank you, John.
Okay. That screen be on right here?
It is, John, and I also have the attachment up if you need me to do any screen sharing. So I'm going to go over the first part, and then Christy Schaefer and Virginia Gabby are going to help with the actual attachment. So just let me know if you want me to share screen at all. So folks, we do have another opportunity for a request for proposal this fiscal year. So we were notified that a provider is going to be giving up 2 projects. So Alta Regional Center is seeking a new service provider or 2 to take over the operation of 2 community crisis homes that are located in our service area, right? One of those homes is located in Harrell, which is south, right? And one of them is located in Alverta, which is a little north here of Sacramento. Both right in Sacramento County. Both of these homes, as all of our community crisis homes, are owned by a housing development organization, and so the service provider leases right this home from the HDO. The 2 unique things about these homes, these are what we refer to as state resources or regional resources. So when we originally got the startup funds to create these, this was specifically created for individuals that are stepping down out of institutes for mental disease, right, that are in need of a secure step down placement to stabilize it back into the community. So the term regional resource simply means that DDS is going to have us send referrals from all different regional centers to our vendors, right? And DDS, we meet with DDS monthly to go over the referrals for this home and really make sure that these vacancies are targeted for those coming out of those locked Institute for Mental Diseases, right? So that's what we refer to as a regional resource or a state resource. Now, the proposals that we're gonna, Christy and Virginia are gonna go over the details of the proposals, but proposals can be submitted by an individual, a group of individuals, or an agency, right? The applicant must have relevant experience in providing care and supervision as applicable for individuals with developmental disabilities, right? And of course, this applicant, we would also want to see have a strong knowledge of co-occurring mental health disorders, right? We'll get more into that. They should also demonstrate knowledge and understanding to effectively deliver services at a CCH. Any person who are employees of a regional center or the state of California may apply for this RFP, but they would have to cease their employment upon being selected for the project. So just to kind of summarize here, we are going to request that these proposals are submitted no later than Thursday, January 15th at 3 p.m. We only accept electronic proposals. We do not accept hard copy proposals. So you can learn more about that. John's sharing this document here, and Christy's going to start out on page 3 for us. So and then I dropped the link in the chat so that you guys have all of that information. Thank you, John, for putting that in there too. And then we will go ahead and pass it over to Miss Christy Schaefer, who's going to go actually over the project description in a little bit more detail.
Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Okay, so yes, so this is a request for proposal for CPP fiscal year 25-26. And this, just as Jordan was saying, for 2 community crisis homes, also known as a CCH, for an IMD step down. The locations are in Harold and Alverta, and the provider startup funding for Harold CCH is $135,000, and provider startup funding for Alverta is $80,000. The reimbursement rate is negotiated. Minimum direct service hours are 356 hours per week, plus additional hours determined by each client's individual support needs. Minimum professional consultation, 12 hours per client per month. The description of the project is to take over the operation of 2 community crisis homes with the goal of possession by June 1st, 2026. And as Jordan had indicated earlier, Alta Regional Center will choose either one provider to take over both of the homes or one provider for each. These CCHs provide step-down services for dual diagnosed adult clients transitioning from an institution for mental disease or other emergency facilities to a less restrictive environment. Clients may also have psychiatric diagnoses and will require management of mental health needs. This home will be a state resource and service clients from multiple regional centers. One of the facilities, as she had mentioned earlier, is located in Harold, and the other facility is located in Alberta. The target population clients identified for the CCH may have or require the following: currently residing in an IMD or at risk of IMD placement, severe behaviors, including but not limited to verbal and physical aggression, property destruction, resistive to daily routines, self-injurious behaviors, sexual maladaptive behaviors, suicidal ideation, and AWOL. Mental health disorders requiring treatment and collaboration with a mental health professional. A court-ordered commitment, for example, a Welfare Institution Code 6500, forensic involvement, including but not limited to assault, sexually related crimes, burglary, theft, criminal threats, and or drug-related crimes. The scope of service for the service provider is to stabilize individuals with challenging support needs and to assist in the transition to a less restrictive environment. Placement in the CCHs will be no more than 18 months. Below is the expected scope of services to be offered, and this is not an exhaustive list. Develop a transition plan immediately after each client moves into the CCH. Collaborate with an intensive transition service provider who may assist clients moving into and out of the CCH. This facility will include psychiatric supports to address mental health needs, as well as intensive services and treatment to address developmental needs and prepare individuals for transition to a less restrictive setting. To develop and utilize thorough comprehension assessments, including a medical assessment. Develop and implement an emergency intervention plan, an EIP, and individuals' EIPs. This home will have extensive behavioral support services utilizing highly trained staff. Complete a written medical assessment within 24 hours of client's admission. Complete a written functional behavior assessment, or otherwise known as an FBA, and an individual behavior supports plan, an IBSP, within 7 days of each client's admission. Provide a comprehensive behavior management service for the reduction and or elimination of interfering behaviors. Clients will receive a minimum of 6 hours of qualified behavior modification professional consultation, as well as a minimum of 6 hours of consulting that the IBST decides is needed for the client stabilization. So for example, an RN or occupational therapist, every month starting with the first month transitioning into the home. Assist clients with increasing their independent living skills, activity, daily living, and appropriate community integration. The provider is to develop a schedule of activities for clients who are in or stay home from day program. As necessary, connect clients to local generic resources that address their substance abuse disorders, mental health needs, and other services identified by the individual behavior supports team. Ensure clients adhere to any court order and attend any court-related appointments, if any. And next, Virginia Gabby will be reading more information on the eligibility of the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. So the eligibility of applicants, the applicants for this RFP must demonstrate a strong understanding of the challenges exhibited by the target client population and the types of services necessary to address those challenges to transition clients out of the CCH within 18 months. The applicant must be able to work collaboratively with ACRC, DDS, CCLD, and the HDO to complete their responsibilities in a timely manner. Applicant must have knowledge of the laws and regulations regarding the development and operation of a CCH. The applicant must be willing to enter into a management agreement to operate the CCH under the current provider's CCL license if needed, and to be a collaborative partner during this transition. The expectation of the service provider. The service provider of the CCH is expected to work closely with the QBMP, client psychiatrist, and other medical and mental health service providers to address the client's needs. Provide direct service hours that meet the minimum criteria, ensure an administrator is on site at least 20 hours per week, and ensure one direct care staff and one lead staff, DCS leads, are awake and on duty 24 hours per day. Provide additional DCS hours as identified in each client's individual budget. Ensure all DCS leads complete the Registered Behavior Technician or RBT certification within 60 days of employment. Ensure all direct care staff complete the Residential Behavior Technician RBT certification within 12 months. Ensure all DCS and DCS leads complete the Direct Support Professional Training, DSPT, year 1 and year 2 within the first 12 months of employment. Hire an administrator with a minimum of 2 years of prior experience providing direct care or supervision to individuals with developmental disabilities, and be one of the following: 1, a registered behavior technician; 2, a licensed psychiatric technician; or 3, a qualified behavior modification professional or QBMP. Develop a comprehensive emergency evacuation plan to ensure the safety of the clients, staff, and any other person who may be present at the facility. Develop a behavior management system that clearly and accurately identifies interfering behaviors, a strong data tracking system, and ensure fidelity of behavior management. Work collaboratively with the HDO to ensure the home is maintained and any physical plant concerns are deemed quickly.
Perfect. Thank you, Virginia. So, John, on the next few pages here, we get into a little bit of the details of about the applicant's criteria, right? The proposal, the kind of the takeaway here is for our timelines, right? We're presenting this RFP today. We're also going to send out this notice to all vendors that we have to help spread the word. And if anybody here knows of a qualified individual that you think might be interested in applying for this project or an agency, please spread the word. Please share that link in the chat. We're really trying to get as many proposals as we possibly can to ensure that we get the right provider for these homes. So John, within that section 2, do you mind just sharing one more time, or I can? I did just want to see if anybody, I wanted to go over the questions that they're going to do in the proposal, if you don't mind, real quick.
Okay.
And
A
then,
second.
yeah, no problem. So we have all our proposal guidelines here, but right, so these are the very specific questions that we want you guys to address. If you have any questions about this, right, we are going to, we have our RFP inbox, but we always start out with a title page, right? We want a couple of pages regarding who you are. Tell us about you. Tell us about your agency, right? Tell us about the organizational structure, etc. Right? And then the first question that we want you to address there is describe your plan to provide community access and integration, right? Describe your plan to ensure all staff implement the IBSP, which is the Individual Behavioral Support Plan, correctly. Describe your plan to ensure DSPs complete the Registered Behavioral Technician certification within 12 months of hire, and that the leads would be RBTs within 60 days of hire. Describe your plan to ensure the DSPs complete the 25 required hours of continuing education, right, per year. And then what are the minimum requirements for the staff to work at your home, right? What are the qualities and expertise do you want to look for when you're hiring staff? We also want you to spend time explaining to us to describe the role and the responsibility of the QBMP that you would be consulting with for your agency. Describe the role and the responsibility of the lead, right? Of that lead direct care staff or that lead direct support professional. Describe your plan to effectively transition clients into your home and prepare your staff for a new client. The last few things that we want you to address there are describe when a client should transition out of the home and how you would plan to facilitate the transition of that client. Also, remembering that some of these individuals will be transitioning back to their home regional center, which could be in San Diego, it could be up in Mount Shasta, right, all over the state, it could be in the Bay. So, really considering some of those geographic things as you're thinking about transitioning clients. And then describe your plan to ensure a positive working environment and culture, and how to retain staff. I think every service provider on this meeting knows exactly how essential culture of your agency and staff retention is for the success of the overall program and the quality of service that our clients receive, right? And then finally, what is your plan to serve diverse populations, including but not limited to cultural and linguistic needs, right? There are a few attachments there, right? We want to see a sample schedule of what you think it would be required for the home. We also have attachment C, which goes over some costs. We want some references, right? So we can check some references. There's also a statement of disclosure that is described within this packet. And we also would want a copy of your resume or your curriculum vitae. The maximum pages is 15. And John, I just want to take a moment, with the new AI and this world of AI, we don't have a formal policy.
Something so good. I was going to mention something about that. So good. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. So in general, right, we discourage please don't use AI to write your program proposal. We do know that it can be helpful in some realms, but it's very obvious, I think, in our opinion, when we can tell that AI has helped to draft that. So John, I know we don't have a formal policy, so I do want them to hear from you too.
Yeah, let's touch on that right now. We certainly recognize that there in many ways are benefits to using, Chat GPT and other different things. When it comes to you explaining to us the ways in which you are going to run facilities in the future, we really need you to understand and be able to speak to all of these different things. And so in looking at your proposals, we're going to be looking for a level of comprehension in it as well, like where there and trust me, when it comes to doing interviews in person with us, we certainly will be looking at whether or not your competencies match your proposal that you put out there as well. And so, again, there's a lot of great benefits, especially if people, need some support with writing. There's things that can go on, but really we need this has been I would just say, a fantastically well laid out RFP. Like if we would have known all of these things when we first RFP'd, right, for these things years ago, but now after operating for them, I feel like you're really giving any applicant like a really clear picture. The only other thing is, and I think you've mentioned it now 3 times in the presentation, is that you're primarily going to be dealing with non-Alta clients though. And so there's a different dynamic when you have to work with different regional centers. And we do have Alta support for the homes, specifically specific facility liaisons that are responsible for the homes and with the admissions and supporting you as a vendor. They can support you in your communication to the other regional centers, but it is working with other regional center clients for a fantastic reason, which is that we as a regional center don't use the Institutes for Mental Disease like we used to. I have learned that they are still in regular use by a number of different regional centers, but that's why these homes have had clients from all over the state of California that have moved into them. So anyways, kudos, Jordan, for a very well detailed request for proposal. And for those of you that may know someone, when you look at all the detail and you look at all of the reporting and you look at all the documentation and the seriousness, when you're developing facilities that can be extremely restrictive to individuals like these you have to have all of these different kind of checks put in place to make sure that the individual is getting their needs met and the services are really aligned with what the planning team has developed through the IBST. So again, thank you guys very much. Thank you for Christy and for presenting that stuff, and Virginia as well. And it's on our website. Thank you guys for getting that up within this week. It was a very fast turnaround. We just got approval from DDS yesterday afternoon.
We did. Dan Kilmer was on it.
Yeah. So you guys did an excellent job. Thank you guys. If anyone has any questions, let's see. You can reach out. Oh, there you go. There's RFP at Alta Regional is right there. Christy put it in the chat, so you can certainly direct questions that way. But otherwise, we hope that either yourselves possibly or someone that you maybe work with would be interested in applying for this. We certainly want individuals that have an understanding of supporting folks with developmental disabilities coming into this. All right, cool. I want to share some additional stuff, and I don't know. I will say that Michelle Duchesne has definitely played a very large role in helping to organize our rollout of the new standardized vendorization. But I'm going to drop this in the chat here right now. Moving forward, the regional center is going to be processing new vendorizations after January 1 through the service provider directory. And so we were required as regional centers to include this language on our website that outlines basically how to become vendored through the provider directory. And it goes into vendorization itself, and it has some specific information that we were required. There's again a number of different statements that are required by DDS for us to put onto our website. The new standardized vendorization, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to have vendorizations between regional centers. So, for example, when we have a North Bay vendor or a client that wants to use a North Bay Regional Center vendor, rather than contacting that regional center directly, we will be contacting them through the service provider directory to get the copy of that vendor file sent over to the regional center. So we're excited about the new process. We are, again, the steps for the new vendorization are available on our website. So just want to encourage people to take a look at that. I know we've certainly talked about it here, but just wanted to share that our website has been updated due to DDS's request to outline the new standardized vendorization process. Additionally, just talking about upcoming and past events, this last week was the QIP meeting for the Department of Developmental Services. They had the QIP work group. I know that I had encouraged some of you to attend that because the quality incentive program is very important for you as service providers to make sure that you get your full rate. I had forgotten when I was encouraging you all to attend that I actually was on the agenda to present at it as well. So I'm not going to get into it too deep here because if you attend like our provider advisory committees, you would have learned about the PAVE project, the person-centered advocacy, vision, and education project. And so I had an opportunity to present about that during the department's quality incentive meeting. And so that was a good opportunity. One of the things I heard from there is a lot of issues with regional centers not updating rates with QIPs. It sounded like there was some complaints from Los Angeles area regional centers that share a lot of vendors between themselves. It's not as much of an issue up in our area because we, primarily get referrals from within Alta's area. But just wanted to share that, those meetings go on from the department, and I encourage you all to participate in them so that you are informed about what the department is planning on doing as it relates to your quality incentive payments. Additionally, I will see if I can share my screen here real quick. I got asked by the Department of Developmental Services. Let's see. Are you guys seeing a DDS slideshow? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I got asked by the Department of Developmental Services to do an update on for the workforce initiatives and to do an update on the state of California's technology pilot program. Some of you are aware that Rhonda Phillips, our housing specialist, has been overseeing this program. And we are coming towards the end of it here. We're going from being a pilot to being an ongoing program. The pilot itself is a partnership between us as well as a service provider, East Bay Innovations from Regional Center of the East Bay, the STEP agency, and On My Own Independent Living. where we had individuals assessed for the assistive technology that can go into their home and then have been implementing the assistive technology. And the reason why I'm sharing the PowerPoint on this is it's neat. The next steps that are in development is we're creating a guide for implementation statewide for assistive technology. So we're really excited about that. And the regional center is helping support DDS with that. And then we're also looking at then, full implementation statewide to expand this, basically giving service coordinators the tools to be able to offer assistive technology during planning team meetings. I think that's really what the goal is here is we started some of these activities last month. We met with the directors of client services at Golden Gate Regional Center. They were all there from all 21 regional centers and gave them an update on this as well. You guys are welcome to check out the QR code or go to DDS's website and you can see the where they've put a lot of newsletter articles. What's neat though is that I haven't seen these numbers yet. I think, Rhonda, this was the first time that we've seen all of these numbers put out there. And so this was kind of cool. So they've gotten some of the metrics back because this pilot has a independent assessor that's doing a report to the legislature about it. So 29 participants received 337 devices, an average of 12 devices per person during the pilot. Device categories, safety was 42%, smart home 23%, personal supports 10%, and then there's some other different types of things, including adaptive equipment. So for the outcomes, there was a 27-point increase for independence, 58% to 85%. For safety, there was an increase from 52% to 84%. For special incident, as we were kind of talking about those a little bit earlier today, 41 down to 19, so a 54% drop. And then medication errors, 19 to 5, so a 74% drop in medication errors. And again, I will not attribute this fully to having, electronic medication dispensers, but that probably does help. And we have implemented those with folks in the assistive technology pilot. And then the feedback, 96% felt like they had choices about technology. 91% were satisfied with technology demonstrations. And then 88% of individuals felt more independent. Again, we haven't been able to see some of these different metrics. We're looking forward to the big report, which I think we're going to be able to see the whole thing of next month. But so far, excellent outcomes for those individuals. And then there are some recommendations that have come out of this as well, which is, and these are lessons learned from us as a regional center as well, require device trials before a permanent installation, standardized DSP training protocols, ensure reliable backup systems and timely support. One of our great examples is that we had installed a smart toilet into one of our clients' homes, and then the smart toilet broke, and then there was no toilet in the home because no one knew how to fix the smart toilet that had been installed in the home. And so something that, again, we try to have some backup type of systems as well when we're doing this. Looking at expanding it beyond for more non-English speakers, ASL users, and into more rural areas, ensuring thoughtful person-centered transitions, and investing in provider training and technical assistance. The pilot proved assistive technology can enhance independence, safety, and privacy with careful planning and equitable access. Technology can become a regular part of services statewide. So the next thing that we're working on I guess we're currently working on it right now at this moment, is we're working on the rate for this. We have some vendorizations that Rhonda's been able to work on. So we vendored Grand Care. So we have the devices vendored. We have Safe and Home, which is one of the remote monitoring systems that is vendored. But what we don't have is a service code or a rate for something like a supported living services agency to do the actual monitoring themselves. And so we're still working with the state of California to establish that rate as well. But just wanted to share with folks the good news of the assistive technology pilot that we were able to share this last week as well. And we'll be doing some service coordinator trainings and some other kind of exciting upcoming opportunities in the new year related to this. All right. With that, it's 11:57. It's almost time to head over to Santa Day for anyone over here that hasn't gone yet. So, a reminder that for the next 2 weeks, we will not be having our coffee with community services, and then we will reconvene in the month of January. And otherwise, community services department is definitely open. So if anyone needs anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to your specialist. And we hope everyone has happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And we'll look forward to talking to folks in 2026. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Have a great one.
Happy holidays.